You guys started draining the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to try and help with the Putin price hike a few years ago. Said you were going to refill it, but now it doesn't seem like that's happening. Why?
Well, I believe the Department of Energy is responsible for that particular component, is refilling that. So I would refer you to the Department of Energy. I know there were certain components to that and how they were going to move forward in refilling it. They would have more specifics on that for you.
Okay.
Today, I'm announcing a plan to refill the Strategic Petroleum Oil Reserve in the years ahead at a profit for taxpayers. The United States government is going to purchase oil to refill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It is important. It is important to understand the climate and economic impacts. That's why it's so important, right, of these LNG exports. And it is the impacts on consumers, right, the impacts on communities, and that's why the president supports these LNG pauses. The president supports the pause on pending, obviously, additional approvals of LNG export licenses to evaluate the economic and climate impacts on consumers and communities. He supports that pause. We believe there has to be alternative ways to deal with Hamas in Gaza, as we're specifically in Rafah. A military operation that we believe is not the way to move forward. There is active conversations happening with the Israeli government and obviously our government, and I think that's important.
And why isn't federal immigration law tougher on border crossers who come here and are accused of serious crimes?
So, are you speaking of a specific case?
There's this story in New York, an 8-person crew of border crossers found with drugs and guns. 6 of them now are out on bail. Does President Biden think policies like that are making the country safer?
So I want to be really careful. That's an active case, so don't want to comment on an active case. But anyone found guilty, and we've been very clear about that, anyone found guilty of a crime should be held accountable. We have been very, very clear about that. And if a person poses a danger to a community, they should be detained pre-trial.
How worried is the White House about bird flu?
So, look, this is something that we are certainly monitoring. We have been, CDC has been certainly working on top, working and focusing on this. We take health and safety of the American people seriously. It is very important to this president. Our top priority is to keep communities healthy, safe, and informed.
Do you guys think that some big cities in this country have liberal DAs that are too soft on crime?
Look, what I will say is I'm not going to speak to every state or city here. It's not for me to speak to. We have been very clear about this. Anyone who commits a crime and is found guilty needs to be held accountable. That's what this president believes.